Hi everybody, it's Jeanette from Thermogroovers. Thanks for joining me today. Today I'm focusing on a recipe out of my ebook called sour Yough bread. Now, everybody asks me if this is a typical sourdough. No, it's not. It's actually a normal bread and it has yogurt in it. So that's why it's called sour Yough bread. Anyway, today I'm going to show you some tips with creating the bread, and if you're interested in getting a copy of my ebook, the link is in the description, so you can jump online and purchase a copy of my ebook. If you already have my ebook, stick around because I'm going to show you some tips that I wasn't able to put into the book. All right, stay with me and let's get this bread started. Okay, I've got all the ingredients ready to go. First step is heating the water, activating the yeast and getting ready to create this beautiful, nice, light, fluffy dough. Okay, so we're just going to pour in our ingredients for the first step of the recipe. And again, if you don't have my recipe, book, you can jump down to the description below and click on that website and you'll be able to purchase my book. So we'll get this heated and then the next step is creating the dough. So we've got the water heated and the yeast activated. Next thing is the secret ingredient, which is the yogurt. And then we're just going to mix that through for a couple of seconds as per the recipe in the book. And then we can add now that that's mixed through, we can add our dry ingredients into the bowl and then we set the kneading function. Okay. So find the mode, kneading mode, and knead away. And then the next step is placing it in the tin. We've completed the kneading process now. And we've got our dough ready to turn out. Now this recipe will fit into a basic bread tin. And some people have asked if they can use the lid on their bread tin. So I never use the lid on my bread tin because I'm never after a sandwich loaf. I usually go for a high top, but if you're after a sandwich loaf, you can use this lid, but I'm going to show you some tips in regards to the dough fitting in the size tin with the lid on. Okay, so stay around and I'll give you those tips. All right, next thing is tipping the dough out onto our surface. You can have a floured surface or you can use a mat. Today I'm just going to put it on my silicone mat. Now sometimes you might need a little bit of oil on your hands to work with the dough just so that it doesn't stick. A lot of people use flour. I suggest you use oil. Okay, so we're just going to turn the bowl upside down and wiggle the blade. And sometimes it's a little bit hard to get it to release because it's a little bit wetter texture. So just keep working it until it starts to come out. And then you're left with, a certain amount of dough in the bowl. So just flick that off and you can scrape that out. And so we've got all the dough around the outside of the bowl. Just collect all of that. Some people remove the blade. You can take the blade out if you want to. I tend not to worry about that. I just scrape out with my spatula. Okay. Now the next thing is to use a little bit of oil on your hands, and that will help you maneuver the dough. Okay. Now if you're going to use this in a bread tin with a lid, I would suggest that you cut a quarter of that recipe, that quantity away. So to be around about that. And then that piece of dough, you can just divide that into two and turn it into some bread rolls, okay? So you can cook them at the same time, prove them at the same time. Today I'm going to do just a standard loaf, so I'm not going to divide it up. And all I'm going to do is just work it into a sausage. Right, there's no rocket science in this, it's just like Play-Doh basically. And the tin that I have is an old one that I've had for lots of years, and I'm just going to place that in the tin like so. So you can see there, it's placed nicely in the tin. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a piece of Glad wrap, spray it with a little bit of oil, and then that's going to sit over the top of the bread tin. So if the dough comes to the top of the tin and I've forgotten about it, when I go to put it in the oven, I can easily peel this off and the plastic doesn't stick to the bread dough. So that's that bit. Now the next thing I'm going to show you is a tip that I use to help with the proving process. So what I have here is just a wheat heat pack, and this is my special one I have just for my bread. And people say, how hot do I heat the heat pack up to? My suggestion is heat it as hot as you would if you were taking it to bed with you. So depending on your microwave will depend on how many minutes you give it. I have it relatively warm. And then what I do with that afterwards, I pop it on top of a wooden chopping board. I sit it on there like that. And then I just sit my bread dough on top like that. And that helps give you a really good quick prove. The board stops the heat from leaving the heat pack and going into your bench. So I always use a wooden chopping board to sit it on, or a wooden surface, so a window ledge, that works as well. So heat your heat pack up and use that to help with the proving. And then you don't have to rely on the sunshine or a really warm day for your bread to grow. Okay, so that's a little quick tip ready to go. Pop it onto your wooden chopping block for insulation. Sit your bread tin on top of that. Now every 15 minutes you may need to come back and heat the heat pack up, because obviously it loses heat and you want to continue with a consistent heat to help with the proving. So we'll let that sit for a little while. This usually takes around about between 40 minutes to an hour, and we'll come back and have a look and see how much we let it rise before we put it into the oven. We're back. We're going to have a look at the bread now and check out to see how high it's risen to the top of the tin. So as you can see there, that's how high we've got it, and you can let it grow a little bit more if you want to, but if you're in a hurry and you want to eat this, just pop it into the oven. And the most important thing is that you put it into a cold oven, because the heating of the oven will also help with a little bit more proving. So here we go, pop it into the oven and then we'll come back and have a look at it once it's baked. Okay, here we have our baked loaf of sour Yough bread. So just sit it on there. You can see that there. And just give it a little shake and loosen it off, and then just pop it out. So there we have it. That's our delicious loaf of sour Yough bread. It's got a beautiful colouring on it, and it's ready to be devoured. I'm going to slice the end of it and have it with some butter. Look at that, absolutely delicious, fluffy. Oh, whoops. I like a bit of butter with my bread. So there you have it. Sour Yough bread, quick and easy, one prove, and you've got a delicious loaf of bread. So cheers everybody. I'm going to go and devour this. Hope you join me next time. Don't forget to get my ebook. This is one of the recipes, one of many that have yogurt in them. If you want a great yogurt recipe, you'll definitely need my ebook. The link is in the description. Come and join me again for another little tutorial on some of my recipes from my ebook. It's been great having you here. I'll catch you all later. Bye.